Thanks for your question. While I don't have any powers to directly regulate private renting, I have been doing everything within my power to improve renting and the enforcement of renters' rights in London. There is no doubt that too many renters in London face high costs and poor conditions. That's why my online private renting tools and checkers support Londoners' renters to make more informed choices about who they rent from and hold their landlords to account. This includes sharing information on landlords who have been fined or prosecuted for a housing-related offence, identifying which homes need a property licence, and making it easy for Londoners to report a concern about a private landlord or property directly to the correct council enforcement team. These tools support councils to improve their enforcement work so that more rented homes are made safe and decent. I very much welcomed the measures set out in the English Devolution White Paper, which agreed to devolve selective licensing powers to London, giving councils new powers to regulate the private rented sector in consultation with City Hall. Selective licensing is one of the best tools councils have to improve conditions and standards in their local private rented sector. I've long been calling for this, and my team is already working with boroughs to give them additional support to develop and implement new schemes. The Renters' Rights Bill contains many of the measures I set out in my London model for tenancy reform in 2019, including ending Section 21, introducing open-ended tenancies, longer notice periods, and a landlord register, the PRS database, and reforming possession grounds. It will deliver much-needed security and stability for renters after years of delay by the previous government. With sufficient funding, it will enable boroughs to increase their enforcement work so that more of London's rented homes are safe and decent. It also contains measures to enable renters to challenge unfair rent hikes. On top of this, I welcome the government's continued commitment to empowering mayors through the English Devolution and Community Empowerment Bill. Working with the government, I have ambitious plans to boost London's growth potential through its measures and have been urging the government to go further still in London, with new powers to streamline the planning process and on the licensing of short-term lets. I look forward to working with the government and helping them change the experience of renting for Londoners.
Thank you. So we all know that we're well past the need, we need urgent action on renting in London. People face a prospect of 20-30% increase and maybe made homeless. Last year when we spoke after my rent commission, you said you'd be pushing the government for powers to cap rents, and you just said then that you don't have the powers, but the devolution bill includes provision for mayors to request powers from the government. So will you be requesting powers to cap rent increases? Yeah,
that's your question. So one of the things that I've been lobbying the government for up until getting this power is for them to devolve to different parts of the country the ability to have rent control. So, look, Greater Manchester may decide not to, right, for reasons that they may decide. That's hypothetical, by the way. I don't know what the decision is, but I would want to. And so we're going to carry on in relation to prior to the bill becoming an act of Parliament, lobbying for that. But she's right. The right to request is something that we find really interesting. The process is a bit clunky. I can make a request directly to MHGLG. More likely to get the right to request responded to if we can get agreement from all the metro mayors across the country. So we'll work through different tactics and strategy, but I can assure her this is one of the things at the top of my list to request from the government in terms of stuff that we should be getting devolved to from the centre outwards.
So capping rents would be on the top of your list for powers to get devolved?
One of the things is I've got a long list.
Yes. So what specific conversations have you had with government about that?
To devolve to regions like, because you'll be aware the experience in Edinburgh, the Scottish Government has got devolution of some of this stuff. I'm paraphrasing. Why can't we have what Edinburgh's got is the sort of context of the conversations we've had. I can understand, by the way, that for argument's sake, Burnley is different from Bermondsey. Right, so I'm not saying Burnley has rent control or rent caps, but what I'm saying is that by giving regions the ability to do so, we can decide if we want to do so or not. In London, clearly, I'd want to do so.
So how confident are you that you would be able to get that from those discussions?
Listen, I'm not breaching confidence as the government is not keen on this. We're going to carry on trying. There have been other examples where, much as the previous government, this current government's not been keen, we've managed to change their minds. And we're going to carry on, in terms of working with the government on things that are being devolved, which will really improve the rights of renters in London, the experience of Londoners, the conditions of the premises. So we're going to make sure we action that. At the same time, thinking about what more we can do to, address the fact, with the best from the world, in the short to medium term, we're not going to get the supply of housing to meet the needs of those renting privately.
So, and just in terms of the bill going through, there's currently an amendment tabled to give the Secretary of State powers to introduce rent caps, which you could then request. So this is a real opportunity to finally get those devolved. So I just wondered if you'd support that amendment publicly.
I'm not sure of any confidence in her getting 326 MPs to support that amendment and stuff. So look, I'll use what little experience I have to try and make sure we can get what we can from the government using whatever tools are available. I think that amendment's not going to pass. But
I do think it might gather a bit of momentum if you put your support behind it, like you did with the welfare cuts.
Thanks for the advice. I'm always receptive to advice from friends or foe. Advice noted.
Yeah, if you'd consider this supporting that, I think it'd be really helpful. Thank you.